and welcome to the fourth in the series of our Decoded episodes. This is all about Gantt and supercharging your projects. Now, before I hand over to the illustrious Luke Tolchard, there are a couple items of housekeeping that I need to cover first. So to begin with, the whole session is being recorded, even the Q&A at the end. So don't worry about missing anything or mishearing or anything like that. We'll send it out to you following the end of today's session. Included in that, we'll also add in any resources or links or anything at all that Luke mentions or talks about, or any of the answers we provide in the Q&A, we'll add those in as well. So don't fear, you're not going to miss out on anything at all. If you do have questions, please use the question and answer button at the bottom of your Zoom screen there. We will do our best to get to them, but as I said, if we do run out of time, any questions that we don't answer, we will add into the follow-up. So never fear, we will answer everything. I think Luke is about to take over now. A quick run through of our agenda there. You can see all of the fantastic items we will be covering, not least of which I will start talking about now, and that is our Vizlib Gantt Quick Start. So some of you may already have noticed that we have recently launched a Gantt course on Vizlab, which is our training tool. It was a combination, a joint operation of Luke and myself creating that content. He's the brains, I'm the looks and the marketing, and it is a really good course. Whether you sort of experienced a bit in Gantt or looking to get your quick start in that, please do go and check it out. It will teach you everything you need to know to start building some awesome projects. Now, I think without further ado, enough of my waffle. I will hand over to Luke, and he can take it away from here. There you go, Luke.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Hey guys. Thanks for coming and join this webinar. It's much appreciated as always. So as it says here, let's get crack-a-lacking. So we can actually, let's just go quickly back to the slides where we have the agenda. So yeah, we've got the progress calculations, which is just progress events. We're going to go on about some features about the dimensions. Again, we're going to talk about mobile view. We're going to talk about some cool use cases along with the Sheet Menu Plus. And also further that, we're going to talk about some actual industry use cases involved with the right back table, and one fun example with airports. So let's get into it. So to start off with progress calculations. So all events, they require, let's use this one. All events require a percentage complete. A lot of projects will go by that, and as we can see here, we can see that under agriculture here we have about call it 56%. Again, we have 60% almost complete, 62% there, so on and so on. So percentages for the Vizlib Gantt, this is where the tips and tricks come in. So percentages are calculated in two ways, and I'll explain that now. So if we go under dimensions and then scroll down to where we've got progress. So I actually have my progress field here, and that's calculated based on 0 to 100%. Though there are some users who use 0 to 1 as their calculation condition. So we can have either default or alternative. So if, for example, if I was to put 0.5 in here for my default, obviously that's going to take everything all the way down to the bottom, whereas if I use alternative, it's going to put it bang in the middle. So there are tips and tricks of how to use the percentage. I get a few questions asked about that now and then on customer calls and things like that, like how do you calculate the percentages of a task complete? Well, there's hopefully one example for you guys. So under default, that takes the number as a true number between 0 and 100, whereas alternative takes it to 0 to 1, 1 being 100% in this case. It used to be the case in the past where we'd intelligently calculate that, but some challenges that we found in talking to customers, we realized that this is the best solution for us going forward. So definitely I recommend that. On the topic of percentages then, the event header here, so we can see agriculture part, bearings, what's this one, chains, lifting device, blah, 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 blah. This takes the sum of all the events and divides it by however many events are underneath this dimension. category or group, sorry. So we can see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 events here are taken into consideration to determine its percentage. Yeah, let's go and talk about dimensions now. No Gantt is complete without having some form of grouping levels. Obviously, the Vizlib Gannts, you can, as you can see here, you can collapse, do all that stuff, fantastic. But that's not what we're going to talk about. If I open up this example here, now this is sort of the finished result of where you come with the Vizlab Gantt course. So this is something that you can produce. You know, you've got the tooltips, but again, we're not going to talk about that because I think I talk about it enough anyway. And I think you guys know my love for them. But under dimensions, we can see here that we get the option to add dimensions. Now, previously, you could only have up to 4 grouping levels. So that meant 5 dimensions here. But now what we've done is we've improved the code base, we've improved the function behind the Gantt chart, and you can now have near limitless number of dimension groups. So, for example, I'm going to just start plonking some of these in, even if they start repeating. But hopefully you'll get the idea. I'm going to now choose project ID. Why not? That's going to be another one. That's going to be a lot of event groups now because each one's obviously different, but so on, so on. You can see now we can start really finalizing and getting really granular with our Gantt chart. Obviously everything's all over the place. So you can see that is now down here. So these events are probably either to the left or right, a lot more. But nonetheless, you can now have more dimension groups. And I really feel like this for a decoded event, for a decoded webinar is really important to highlight because it was a really heavily requested feature. And it is one that I'm really happy that we finally got implemented. And it's one that I believe people aren't actually aware of. But I would recommend to keep on top of anything Gantt related, as well as any other Vizlib products. Do sign up to our or follow us on YouTube, where you can see the monthly webinar, the monthly highlight videos. They really are a highlight reel of what we're producing, what we feel like is really important to talk about, and that goes for all products. So yeah, go ahead, give us a follow on that on YouTube, and obviously LinkedIn, all that other goodness. Right, what was next? Mobile view. Right. Now, we don't all have the privilege of, I would say in Vizlib, this is always quite a misconception that we don't just work on little Dell laptops. We all have kind of nice Macs, or lots of us do anyway. But we have to appreciate that people do also work on one of these, especially with Gantt charts. We're always looking at project managers here and how to best accompany them. So Gantt chart, our Vizlib Gantt chart can work in mobile view, and to help with that, and to help with the mobile view, there is actually a feature which I'm going to have to remind myself where it is. Let's type in mobile. But mobile, be helpful if I can spell something. I think it's called collapse. So there we are. Under group panels, under interactivity, group panels allow collapse, and then you'll see this little icon appears here. Lovely. Now that means we can provide more room on the click of a button. And just to show what that looks like on the mobile view, if I remember how to go about doing this, we can now use a iPhone. Sure. Good. Thank you. Go to analysis, scroll down, click. There we are. So now me as the project manager, I can come in here. I get a much better view of what's actually happening within my Gantt. And of course, you can pinch and zoom and all that good stuff, as well as clicking on events to get their tooltip. So what you're seeing on your desktop is what someone on their mobile device would be seeing on the field in, I don't know, let's say an engineering scenario where they're with their engineers at development for, I don't know, new houses. Okay, cool. And then let's go on to talk about the use of the sheet menu. I'm actually going to roll this in with the relevant use case as well, because there's a really nice one. So in collaboration with an airport, which I can't label, but there is some back and forth about how best to go about doing their analytics. And one of the things they really wanted to understand from a nice, high-level, good data structure point of view was the arrival of aircraft and their departure. So as we can see here, we have a variety of different aircrafts which are arriving, and we can see that the red events here, they are departing late or have arrived late. I think these are departing late, sorry, yep, departing. And then anything in a nice blue is presenting itself as on time or ahead of schedule. Of course, you can do some further coloration if you so chose to with the, and here, we can choose different ways of doing coloring. So we can under custom settings, color settings, and change it to custom. And then what we can do is we can see here a simple if statement changes from light red to that blue color that we see. So stop talking, Luke. How can we actually improve this with the sheet menu? So what we can first start thinking of, right, okay, of course, we can make it that mashup style aesthetic. Cool, we've got custom header here. But what we can also do is we can also start to tinker around a bit with the CSS behind the Gantt as well. So we can see here that we have some different background applied. And we can even advance this a little bit further to get something a bit more like dark mode, which I appreciate a lot of people are leaning more towards now. I've seen more extensions come out that support it. Out external to Qlik Sense as well, this is. And I know that with the Sheet Menu Plus, and again with sheet themes, Qlik Sense themes, it is something that people have started to integrate. I know they actually use the Vizlib switch, for example, to change sheet themes. So that's something really impressive. But as we can see here, what we're trying to do is we're trying to make it more a more friendly, a more inviting dashboard. And just by using the Sheet Menu Plus, you're creating something which is a bit more different, a bit more fun to look at, and I think something that's really impactful over time. I think I may have had another example here as well. Let me just see. Probably not. And then I suppose finally we should talk about the write back along with Vizlib Gantt. So if I go and find the hotel dashboard, which I was meant to bring up earlier, which I haven't, it will be under here. So why use write back along with the Gantt chart? I think it sort of speaks for itself. You're able to write back to the data source. You're able to update your projects on the go, and more importantly, you can provide real-time project planning across your different events and different groups. So, for example, we can use some things here. Let's go and click on whatever this event is. We can start to understand right, all the hotel IDs that are 269, right? Okay, now we're going to go in and actually have a look at ABW perhaps. So let's go and search for ABW with this. Oh, there we are. And now we can begin to start. Then we can start updating things. So how many adults have joined? Well, let's pretend there's 5 of them, and they had 2 children. Okay, cool. Number of babies, none. And we can say the number of days stayed was actually 10. So things that were updated that are worth writing back. Of course, we can do that, and then we'll see the Gantt update along with that information. And what's really important about this is that along with the write back, you can set up security rules, of course. This isn't a webinar about write back. I do not claim myself to be a professional on that at all. But I will say that with the write back table involved, with Gantt, you are really starting to have that full circle, that full 360 view of a complete project plan. And it is definitely something I would look at how to implement in a successful way within your business. For example, you could use this write back table maybe in the sheet menus, side menus. So it's more of like a slide on capability to figure out. So a bit like maybe does this one have it? Yeah, so a bit like this. So instead of it being a GIF in here, it could be the write back table where the user comes in, types away what they need to do, submits it, closes it, brings back to the Gantt chart. So a few different ways to use all of our products in conjunction with the Gantt. And I think that's a really beneficial way of how to really extract the full superiority of the Gantt chart, because we know it's a really good tool. by itself, and it's an even better tool in with the other products alongside it. So I'm going to perhaps stop there. Maybe it's worth to see if there are any questions coming in, because I see it's already been 22 minutes almost. So, or 15 minutes here, sorry. So should we see if there are any questions that were coming in?
Yeah, we have a couple, and don't forget, use the Q&A button at the bottom, but we have a few in already. Now, obviously, you just spoke to this, but there is the question, can Gantt work with write back? So is there anything else you would like to add to your previous point, just to make that a little bit clearer?
No, but thank you for raising it. So actually, yeah, I suppose setting up write back, we have some really excellent documentation. It's had a huge overhaul about how to set up write back. So I don't know. That could be in the follow-up email. I won't go hunting for that now, because I don't think that's the best use of our time. But yeah, I would definitely read that. It's something I will pass over to Jason for the follow-up. But importantly, I would say once you've set that up, not only is it going to benefit the Gantt, it's actually going to benefit the whole, as I keep saying, the whole 360 view of your project will really come into fruition. It will really begin to show itself as that dynamic project planning Qlik application that everyone dreams about. And then I'll mute myself.
Can we use our own custom color schemes? That's the next question.
Yes. So what I'll talk about quickly is actually the two different ways that you can do colors. Actually, there's a few, but under appearance, we've got several different ways of doing colors. Right, I'll actually bring this back. So everything from milestone styling, event bar styling, and then you've got dependency styling. So these lovely dependency events here, dimension column styling. So that's on the left-hand side here. So for example, we can start changing text color to be blue, and then the background color to be, I don't know, that color, sure. There we are. And you can start really customizing that to your brand colors. And then, of course, I mean, there's more coloration there. And like I mentioned with the airport app, under your first dimension, you have a variety of different options. And one of them is for the global settings. So the difference between appearance down here and the color settings under the dimension is that you under appearance, this is a global theme, and this tends to be the same. And this is the case for any Vizlib chart now. Actually, I believe that's also the same for Qlik itself. So under appearance, this is a global theme of how to color your chart. Whereas under this dimension, under the first dimension here, we can then turn this off, and then sure, it's going to be blue. And then in fact, actually, we start looking down here under the different grouping levels. So where we have the first group. This bar here, we can actually see that we've got a few different ways of changing. So we can actually change some group header color from auto to custom, and then go through there and start customizing that as well.
Fantastic. Now we have a couple of more questions. Do dependencies have to link to an order number?
No. I know I have talked about this before as them linking to an order number, and in fact, actually in the Gantt Vizlab course, I do talk about it being linked to a number. But no, as long as what you're referencing is specified in the data model as, for example, if this event here, Roland, had its unique ID, so Roland 12345, and if this dependency was linking or referencing Roland 12345, then it would link, but it has to be a unique number.
Thank you, Luke. And our final question as it stands right now is, I'm joined late, I'm very sorry, but can I use event linking?
There we are. We just talked about dependency, so yes. Yeah, well, thank you for that question, definitely. So yeah, dependencies are super simple to set up. In fact, actually, I think I have it in this data model here. So hopefully you guys can see this. In fact, I'll just increase the screen size. But we can see here that we have a predecessor link, which basically says, right, this is event 2. And what is it dependent on? Well, it's dependent on number 1, and number 3. So that's my order, right? And we can see here it's separated by a comma. So you could have, for example, 1, 3, 5, 10, 12, so on, so on, so on. Whatever events are dependent on number 2. Whatever number 2 depends on to get completed, then that's where you link it in here, comma separated as well.
Awesome. And that is our last question. So again, thank you very much everyone for taking part and adding your questions. If we had any other late joiners, don't worry. Full recording, all the resources, all the links will be sent out following the end of this webinar. And yeah, thank you for joining us. Thank you for asking your questions. I've been Jason, he's been Luke, and we'll see you on the next one. So stay tuned.
Cheers. Thanks, guys.
Ciao all.